Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 30 female, have a sister, Anna, 27 female. And we used to be close, and I thought we had a good relationship. Then, my ex-boyfriend James, 30 male, entered the picture. I met him while in college and was completely head over heels for him. I thought we were going to get married, get a house, have babies, and all the other sappy rom-com cliches. He was the second boyfriend I ever had in life at the time. When my sister first met him, she said that she couldn't possibly see what I saw in him and would sometimes show passive-aggressive hostility. My sister was one of the most important people in my life, and I really wanted her and James to get along, so I encouraged outings with the three of us from time to time. Then, one day I got sick at one of the planned outings, but insisted that it was okay for James and Anna to go without me. After that, Anna and James became more friendly with one another, and I was actually happy. Until one day my parents sat me down and told me that Anna was pregnant and how she was going to marry the father. I was shocked, and when I asked who the father was, my heart was shattered when they told me it was James. Anna was staying at our grandparents' house in another state, but when I went to confront James, his sister came out and apologized to me for the situation and that their parents and mine were pressuring Anna and James to marry after they got caught. I was so distraught, and to make it up to me, my parents offered to pay for my trip abroad as well as grad school while giving me an allowance. They told both Anna and me that the money was going to come out of whatever they had saved for her college expenses as restitution to me, and said that Anna needed to focus on being a mother first, and that school would have to come later. After spending a lot of weeks sobbing over it, I agreed to their offer and stopped speaking to Anna and James. Fast forward to now. James has passed away, and Anna has 2 kids to support. She's yet to find a job that will pay her enough and decided to go back to school. Anna is struggling really hard with her finances and asked me if I would be willing to loan her the money and she'd pay me back after graduation. I have the money, and she knows it. But I told her no. She got upset and called me selfish, saying by punishing her, I was effectively going to make her kids suffer, as our parents no longer were in a position to help. I've started to get messages from people stating that I owe her for taking her college money and calling me the golden child. But I don't see it that way. Am I the a-hole? Edited to add. My sister was 18 and a senior in high school when she met James. She was 19-20 when she gave birth. Technically, the money my parents gave me out of her college fund was theirs and just designated for Anna. She had no legal claim to it. When my parents found out that Anna was pregnant, they gave her a choice. Put the baby up for adoption. Keep the baby and marry the father. Keep the baby but don't marry the father and be disowned. Edited to add 2. Anna has never apologized for what she did. Not the a-hole. Continue no contact and live your life. She didn't care about you until she wanted something from you. Her kids are not your responsibility. Not the a-hole, but your parents forced their pregnant, high school-age daughter to get married at the same time they pulled all financial support. Your parents set her up for failure. Being a newlywed teenager with a newborn baby and without a college education is a fast track to long-term financial insecurity. And now, unfortunately, as a widow without a degree and/or meaningful job experience, it's going to be even harder for her. This isn't your fault or your responsibility to fix. But your parents have a really cruel sense of accountability. Not the a-hole. It was your parents' decision to spend the money they saved. It was their money and they got to choose how they spend it. Just like now, your money is your money and you get to choose how you spend it. The fact that she is clearly trying to recruit mutual acquaintances to her side makes her even more of an a-hole and is all the more reason you should continue no contact with her. She's also trying to guilt trip you into doing it by bringing up the kids. I, 28 female, can admit to being the type of person who can let their emotions impede their judgment. I've calmed down a bit since the initial fight, but I'm still on the fence about me being in the wrong, so I wanted to ask a host of folks who aren't close to the situation. A few years back, my cousin, Rachel, 35 female, used to date a guy, Richard, 32 male, who everyone in the family really liked. He was the type of boyfriend who would help out the family move, pick you up if you were in a tight spot, and trust to give a key to if your house alarm was going crazy while you were out of town and you wanted someone to check it out. We all loved him and were excited when Richard asked Rachel's parents for their blessing when he said he wanted to propose. Rachel's mom couldn't contain her joy and told, so everyone knew that Richard was going to propose and the type of ring he was going to use. Before I was born, my maternal grandmother had a family ring that she gifted to my aunt, Rachel's mom, and it was a tradition that the oldest girl in the maternal line get it as their something old and then pass it down to the next generation. Unfortunately, as a teen, Rachel's house was broken into, and one of the things that was stolen was the ring. The women in my family were devastated. Richard paid to have the ring made in the near exact image and used it to propose to Rachel. We all thought it was sweet, and even though Rachel said yes, she later confessed to not loving her engagement ring and wanted a different one. Unfortunately, this led to Richard and Rachel ending the relationship, but since custom-made rings couldn't be returned, Rachel and Richard both agreed to let my grandma have it, and that was that. Fast forward to now, and I'm the one getting engaged. This year, we spent Thanksgiving with my family, and while there, Grandma presented me with the ring, so that way it could be my something old, just like the original one, and I was so happy. Rachel made a comment about it not making sense, since it wasn't the actual ring, so it was silly, but I said I didn't care. The next day, Rachel sent me a message about it not only being inappropriate for me to wear the ring that Richard made for her on my wedding day, but if we were to follow tradition, then she should have it as the oldest girl in the maternal line. I told her that she had her chance and blew it, gave it to Grandma, who decided to give it to me. Rachel has since blocked me and told other members of the family that I threw her breakup with Richard in her face and was hurtful. Am I the a-hole? Rachel literally ended her engagement because she didn't like the ring. It is impossible to discuss her claim on the ring without bringing up her relationship. She did have her chance and blew it. She doesn't lay an ounce of claim to it now. Keep her blocked and ignore her. She doesn't deserve your time or attention. And don't invite her to the wedding. She'll find a way to make that all about her too. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. But this is also kind of weird. It's a ring a non-family member had made for a failed relationship and then just gave it to one of the relatives? Really hope your family paid him back for having that ring made. I got a custom pearl pendant made once, incredibly simple, and even that was nearly $2,000. Can't imagine what it cost to replicate an engagement ring. Not the a-hole. She was ungrateful and caused the ending of her relationship with a great guy over a ring, when marriage is much more than just a pretty ring. It actually disgusts me when women act like this. As you said, she gave the ring to your grandmother, but it also seems she was looking for an excuse not to marry the guy, if now she's saying she wants to be given the ring. My wife doesn't like my mother. Some of it is valid. Some of it, I honestly feel, is looking for reasons to be mad at her. However, she is currently pretty hurt as my mom doesn't show much interest in our son. My wife grew up in a very close, loving family, and this bothers her. Our son recently had his first birthday, and my mom came with her 15-year-old stepdaughter, Rose. Rose is a pretty big brat. She demanded jewelry when my mom got her engagement ring, and she said her dad should give her an elaborate gift to equal the cost of the wedding. This isn't even a kid acting out because her dad is remarried. She wanted him to marry my mom. This is just how she acts. My mom's husband is lazy. I know he loves her, but he's too lazy to parent and is one of those every other weekend Disney dads, though he recently got primary custody, but only because she is older. My mom showed up to the party, and my wife was immediately on edge. My mom gave a kind of crappy gift. I know it isn't about gifts, but still. And a couple minutes later, Rose asked my mom if they could go to Michael's when they left and get more supplies for her hobby. My mom said yes, and Rose said, "Okay, and you better spend more on me than you did on that baby." My wife and I both looked at my mom, but she didn't correct Rose. My mom wasn't eating much because she had some sensitivity to the main menu item. Not allergies, think sensory stuff that is hard to predict. And Rose announced that she was telling her dad. My mom was like, "Telling him what?" And Rose said she was telling him that we didn't have any food for my mom. Final straw was when out of nowhere, Rose looked at my mom and said, "Do you like me more than that baby?" My mom just started laughing, and my wife mouthed, "Get her out of here." So I told my mom they had to go, as Rose was being rude, and my mom had a bad attitude. My mom acted confused and said they didn't do anything. I said they were upsetting my wife and the mother of my child, and her happiness on that day was my priority. My mom called me ducking ridiculous, and Rose was like, "Yay, we can go to Michael's now," but then repeated that she was telling my dad. They left and my in-laws pretty much cheered, but my side was pissed. My grandparents think I was way too hard, and they are ashamed I treated my mom like that. They said I was coddling my wife, and Rose is just a bratty teen. Not the a-hole. I wouldn't want that nightmare of a child in my house either. And if it takes kicking your mom out to get rid of her, well, everyone sucks here but the baby. You don't need to enable anyone. Wife, mom, Rose, onlookers. Your wife does need to learn to stop responding to Rose's ridiculous demands for attention with negative attention. Rose doesn't care what kind of attention it is that she's getting, only that it is attention. So she's fueling it. And your mom likewise. Rose wants to go to Michael's after? Great. Maybe she can quietly make a list of what she needs for her hobby. Ignore. She's gonna tell her dad? Great. Maybe he'll call you a-hole and their family won't attend next event or will bring their own food. The three of them can decide if your mom, Rose, he, or any share thereof ever respond to an invitation favorably again, if you offer one. Not in your care or control unless you live together. You and your wife have to stop caring, except to see distantly and vaguely that your mom is married into an unfortunate situation over which you have no control. Not the a-hole. Good for you for standing up for your wife and child. Rose sounds awful, and it seems like your mom was letting her do and say whatever she wanted with no concern for anyone else. Might be a good time to talk to your wife and decide some boundaries you want to stick with to your mom and Rose. Do what's best for your family, wife and son. When I, 22 male, was 15, we found out that my dad, 42 male, had been cheating on my mom with a man. This was a surprise, since my dad was the biggest jerk when it came to that topic you could have met. He left my mom and divorced her because he wanted to be authentic to himself. It was a really hard time for me and my siblings, 15 male, 13 male, ages today. Remember, I grew up with this H background installed in my head by my own father, so I was disgusted. He tried to apologize, but I said hurtful things to him. I even told him that he was dead to me because I was embarrassed to have FGSS father. I deeply regret those things now, specifically since I'm bisexual and have a boyfriend. You could tell my dad was deeply hurt by what I said. He ended up moving out of the country with his lover, to Germany, his affair partner's native land, and we barely talked after that. He invited my siblings to spend Christmas with him, but never me. He sent them plane tickets to go, but I was ignored. I kind of understood since we had a huge argument before he left, so I let it go. But that didn't mean I wasn't hurt, since I was being ignored by my own father. Last year, for Christmas, he posted a photo of him, his affair partner, my siblings, and a child they have, under the caption, "My family is complete, no missing piece." That hurt like hell. We had been no contact this whole time, until a couple of weeks ago when he called me telling me that he wanted us to reconcile. So he thought it'd be a great idea if I could come to his house in Europe for Christmas to talk about our relationship. He also offered to pay for my boyfriend's ticket, so I didn't feel alone and vulnerable. But I told him he should keep that money to spend on his real family, since he made it clear last year on his post that I wasn't part of that family. He called me a-hole for treating him like that, knowing that I hurt him first. Yes, I know that while he was trying to apologize and make me understand the situation, I said many nasty and insulting things. But I was a literal child dealing with the divorce of a parent coming out. Plus, I was hateful because that's the way I was raised, and he was the adult, and the no missing piece was the ducking cherry on the top. My grandma says that I should understand that this is perhaps the first time he feels safe to invite me and not being insulted. He just found out I have a boyfriend. She says I was too rude to say, "your real family." I'm so conflicted about this. I need some unbiased point of view. Not the a-hole. You were a child whose home was being broken apart. He was the adult, and it was his job to be the bigger person, and he didn't do that. He still didn't do that now. Instead, posting that picture with that caption. That was intentionally hurtful, and I'm not buying his saying anything otherwise. Your father being gay didn't make him a bad person. Your father having an affair made your father a bad person. Your father inviting your siblings and not even extending an olive branch made your father a bad person. Your father posting a photo with him, his affair partner, their child, and your siblings with the caption he wrote made your father a bad person. You don't need toxic people in your life. Why add him back? You hurt him first? You forgot to mention that your dad is an amazing gymnast in your post, Olympic level. Not the a-hole times 10. Not the a-hole. You were an a-hole for what you said years ago, but you were also a child dealing with the emotional turmoil of a divorce. Holding that over your head for years is the real a-hole thing here. Your father could have invited you years ago, but didn't because he didn't want to deal with it. You're one of his children too, and he's neglected you this whole time. It's entirely up to you whether you continue no contact. Honestly though, I suggest giving him a piece of your mind before you decide though. Tell him how he's really hurt you all these years and let him stew in it. If you get no sympathy or empathy from this man, then you're better off without him. I have a 3-year-old daughter with my ex, and I'm 7 months pregnant with our second child. For his birthday, my ex's family hosted a birthday dinner for him. His sister came to pick up my daughter, but she wouldn't go with her and wanted to stay home with me. I tried to encourage her to go, but she didn't want to unless I went too. His sister asked if I would come too, because she thought it would be more important to my ex for our daughter to be there than for me not to be. I agreed to go after she said my ex would assume I kept our daughter from the dinner, which would only cause more issues between us, which we definitely don't need. His sister explained while I was there when we arrived, and while he didn't say anything to me directly, she told me he was okay with it. His family were all happy to see me, but my ex's girlfriend and her family weren't. His girlfriend confronted me after dinner and asked me why I was there. Even though I explained why, she said I had ruined my ex's birthday and that I had made it all about me and my pregnancy, which made him uncomfortable and put him in an awkward position. She kept telling me I shouldn't have come, and she implied I had come on purpose to ruin his birthday. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Also, you're 7 months pregnant with his child, so this new girlfriend has to be pretty damn new. Who does she think she is to say anything to you about your being there? Not the a-hole. The other girl should lower her intensity by 2 notches. You are the mother of his children, so that binds you together. You will always have to have communication for the child, the baby, and to communicate about parenting or any other aspect that has to do with the children. She has to come to terms with that and get over it. Otherwise, she is not ready to date a man who has children with another woman. Not the a-hole. Now is the time for girlfriend to realize you come along with the package. You will always be in his life. Whether she likes it or not, you will always be a part of his children's lives. If she can't deal with that, now's the time for her to leave.